Hello, dear friends. Today, I want to talk to you about a topic that touches the hearts of many: isolation. Have you ever felt alone, as if you were disconnected from everything and everyone? Sometimes it seems like the doors close and we are left in a deep silence, facing loneliness. But I want you to know that if this is happening to you, it is not by chance. It is not a sign of abandonment or forgetfulness. In fact, it may be a sign that you have been chosen by God for something special. When God decides to isolate someone, it is not to punish them, but rather to prepare them, protect them, and transform them. Isolation can be the beginning of a new phase in your life, a moment of transition that can lead to something grand. It is a time when God works in us, shaping our character and strengthening our faith. Sometimes, we need to go through periods of solitude so that we can connect more deeply with Him and understand the purpose He has for us. Today, I want to share with you 7 surprising reasons why God may be isolating the chosen ones. These reasons can bring clarity and hope to you who are going through this challenging moment. Each of them shows us that isolation is not a punishment, but a divine preparation for something greater that is to come. So, if you are feeling lost or discouraged, I invite you to reflect on these reasons and to see isolation in a new light. Before we continue, I would like to ask you to subscribe to our channel and leave your like. This helps us share this message with more people who may need to hear what God has to say. Let's embark together on this journey of faith and discovery. We live in a world filled with negative influences and dangers that we often cannot see. Distractions, social pressures, and external expectations can divert us from our true purpose. It is easy to get lost amid all of this, but God, in His infinite wisdom, sees beyond appearances. He knows each of us deeply and knows exactly what we need to stay safe and focused on our path. A powerful example of this divine protection is the story of Moses. When the Pharaoh ordered the death of all Hebrew boys, God did not allow Moses to become a victim of this tragedy. Instead, He hid him in a basket and placed him in the Nile River, where he was rescued by the Pharaoh's daughter. This divine intervention was not just an act of protection. It was the first step for Moses to become the liberator of the people of Israel. God knew that Moses had a great purpose, and for that to be fulfilled, He needed to protect him from the threats surrounding him. Just like Moses, many of us may feel isolated at times in our lives. It may seem like we are being distanced from people, environments, or situations that were once part of our daily lives. However, it is important to remember that this distancing can be a way for God to protect us. Sometimes, what we perceive as rejection or loss is, in fact, divine protection. God may be freeing us from unhealthy influences that could harm our faith, our emotional health, or our purpose. Imagine that you are in a relationship that is not good for you. You may feel that you are being distanced from that person, and this can cause pain and confusion. But if you look closer, you may realize that this separation is, in fact, a way for God to take care of you. He is protecting you from something that could hurt you. Isolation can be difficult, but it is a sign of divine care. God is keeping you safe for something greater, something you may not yet be able to see. Furthermore, isolation can be a time for reflection and self-discovery. When we are alone, we have the opportunity to connect more deeply with God and better understand who we are. It is in this space of solitude that we can hear God's voice more clearly. He may reveal truths about ourselves and show us the path we should follow. Often, it is during these periods of isolation that we find the strength and courage to face the challenges ahead. God also uses isolation to prepare us for what is to come. Just as Moses was protected to fulfill his purpose, God may be preparing you for something grand. He may be shaping your character, strengthening your faith, and teaching valuable lessons that you will need in the future. Every challenge you face now is preparation for what God has in store for you. Therefore, if you are feeling isolated, remember that this is not a punishment, but an opportunity for growth and protection. It is important to trust in God's plan, even when we cannot see what lies ahead. Isolation can be a time of uncertainty, but it is also a time of trust. God is working in your life even if you do not realize it. He is keeping you safe from traps you cannot even imagine exist. Sometimes the things we desire most may not be what we truly need. God, in His wisdom, knows what is best for us. If you are going through a period of isolation, I encourage you to seek God during this time. Ask Him what He wants you to learn and how you can grow during this period. Be open to hearing His voice and receiving the protection He is offering. Remember that you are not alone. God is with you, taking care of you and preparing the way ahead of you. In summary, God isolates the chosen ones to protect them from negative influences and hidden dangers. Isolation can be a sign of divine care, a moment of preparation and growth. Trust in God's plan and know that He is always by your side, guiding and protecting you every step of the way. If you feel distant, remember that this may be an opportunity to connect more deeply with Him and discover the purpose He has for your life. Every chosen one by God goes through a process of preparation. Before revealing someone to the world, God works on the inside, shaping character, strengthening faith, and teaching important lessons that are essential for fulfilling the purpose He has for each of us. This preparation can be a challenging period, but it is fundamental for us to become the person God desires us to be. A notable example of this process is the story of David. He was anointed as king while still young, but his journey to the throne was not immediate. David faced many challenges before taking leadership over Israel. He went through deserts, fled from Saul, and had to deal with difficult situations, including betrayal and rejection. These moments of struggle and solitude were crucial in shaping David into a strong and wise leader. God used each of these experiences to prepare him for the great calling He had on his life. Just like David, you may be living a moment where everything seems still, in silence. It can be frustrating to feel that you are not making progress, that your prayers are not being answered, or that you are stuck in a dead-end situation. However, it is important to understand that even in these moments of apparent stagnation, God is working in you. He is preparing you for something great that is to come. This is the time to seek God more deeply. It is an opportunity to deepen your relationship with Him, to pray and meditate. When we dedicate ourselves to seeking God's presence, we open our hearts to receive what He wants to teach us. It is a moment of learning, where we can grow in patience, wisdom, and faith. Just like David, you are being shaped for something extraordinary. During this preparation process, God may be working in various areas of your life. He may be strengthening your faith, helping you to trust Him more and depend less on your own strength. Sometimes, we need to go through difficulties to learn to trust God more deeply. These experiences teach us that even when everything seems uncertain, we can find security in His presence. Moreover, God may be shaping your character. He desires for us to be people of integrity, compassion, and love. The challenges we face often reveal our weaknesses and show us where we need to grow. When we encounter difficult situations, we have the opportunity to choose how to react. These choices shape who we are and prepare us for what God has in store for us. It is important to remember that God's preparation is not a quick process. Often it takes time and requires patience. David did not become king overnight. He spent years facing challenges and learning valuable lessons. Similarly, you may need time to prepare for what God has for you. But do not be discouraged. Each passing day is an opportunity to grow and draw closer to the purpose God has for your life. If you are feeling isolated or in a waiting period, I encourage you to see this as an opportunity. Ask God what He wants you to learn during this time. Be open to hearing His voice and receiving the wisdom He is offering. Sometimes the answers we seek come in moments of silence and reflection. Remember that God never abandons us. Even when it seems that we are alone, He is by our side, working in us and through us. Isolation can be a time of spiritual growth, where we can deepen our faith and prepare for what is to come. Trust that God is shaping you for something grand. In summary, God isolates the chosen ones to prepare them for the purpose He has in their lives. This preparation process can be challenging, but it is essential for us to become the person God desires us to be. Just like David, you are being shaped for something extraordinary. Take this time to seek God, grow in faith, and prepare for what He has in store for you. The best is yet to come. Have you noticed that often periods of isolation come with challenges? These moments can be difficult and lonely, but it is important to understand that God is using these experiences to teach you something new, to strengthen you, and to empower you. Isolation is not a sign of abandonment, but an opportunity for growth and personal development. A clear example of this divine empowerment is the story of Joseph. He was sold into slavery by his own brothers, and after this betrayal, spent years in prison. During this time of isolation, Joseph faced many difficulties, but he also had the chance to learn valuable lessons. He learned to trust in God, to be resilient, and to lead in the midst of adversity. Each challenge that Joseph faced prepared him for the great purpose that God had for him, to become governor of Egypt and save his family and many others from famine. Just like Joseph, you may be going through a period of loneliness and challenges in your life. It may seem like everything is falling apart around you, but it is during this time that God is shaping you for something greater. He is developing skills and qualities that you will need in the future. Every difficulty you face now is preparation for what is to come. It is a time of learning and growth. During these periods of isolation, God may be working in various areas of your life. He may be teaching you to be strong and to have patience. Life often presents us with situations that test our resilience and our ability to handle pressure. When we face difficulties, we have the opportunity to learn to trust God more deeply. It is in this moment that we can turn to Him for strength and guidance. Moreover, isolation can be a time to develop leadership skills. Joseph, even in prison, had the opportunity to lead other prisoners and interpret dreams. These experiences prepared him for the role of governor, where he would need to lead an entire nation. Similarly, God may be preparing you to lead in your life, whether in your family, at work, or in your community. Every challenge you face now is shaping your skills and making you more capable of facing what is to come. It is important to remember that God's empowerment does not happen overnight. Often it takes time and requires patience. Joseph spent years in difficult situations before being elevated to his purpose. During that time, he not only learned to trust God, but also developed a strong and resilient character. This preparation was essential for him to fulfill God's plan for his life. If you are feeling isolated or facing challenges, I encourage you to see this as an opportunity for growth. Ask God what He wants you to learn during this time. Be open to hearing His voice and receiving the wisdom He is offering. Sometimes, the most valuable lessons come in moments of difficulty and solitude. Additionally, Remember that you are not alone in this process. God is with you, guiding and empowering you every step of the way. He is working in your life, even if you do not realize it. Isolation can be a time of spiritual growth, where you can deepen your faith and prepare for what is to come. Every challenge you face now is an opportunity to become wiser and more capable. God is shaping you so that you can fulfill the purpose He has for your life. Do not be discouraged by difficulties. Instead, see them as an essential part of your growth. Every struggle you face is preparing you for something grand. In summary, God isolates the chosen ones to empower them. These periods of isolation and challenges are opportunities for learning and growth. Just like Joseph, you are being shaped for something extraordinary. Take this time to seek God, develop your skills, and prepare for what He has in store for you. The best is yet to come, and you are being prepared for it. We all carry wounds, hurts, and emotional baggage that can prevent us from moving forward in our lives. Sometimes these painful experiences trap us in a past that no longer serves us. Isolation, although challenging, can be a divine opportunity for God to cleanse our hearts and remove everything that is unhealthy. It is a moment of purification, where He prepares us for a lighter and more blessed future. In Psalm 51:10, David cries out, "Create in me, O God, a clean heart." This plea reflects David's desire to be renewed and purified. During isolation, God invites us to make this same request. He desires for us to rid ourselves of pride, fears, insecurities, and feelings that distance us from His will. This purification process is essential for us to draw closer to Him and prepare for the new blessings He has in store for us. When we are isolated, we have the opportunity to look within ourselves. It is a time for reflection and self-evaluation. We can ask ourselves, what wounds do I still carry? What is holding me back? Often the answers are rooted in past experiences that have never been properly addressed. God, in His infinite wisdom, uses isolation to help us confront these issues and seek healing. During this process, it is important to be willing to allow God to work within us. This may mean facing pains we have been avoiding, or dealing with hurts that hold us back. Although this may be uncomfortable, it is a necessary step toward healing. God does not want us to carry heavy burdens. He desires for us to experience the freedom that comes from a purified heart. Moreover, isolation is a time when we can focus on our relationship with God. Without the distractions of everyday life, we have the opportunity to pray, meditate, and seek His presence. It is in this space that we can open our hearts and allow Him in. By doing so, we can experience the true healing that comes from His grace and love. God is ready to cleanse our insides, but we need to invite Him to do so. Remember that purification does not happen overnight. It is a process that requires time and patience. Just as David cried out to God for a clean heart, we must be persistent in our quest for renewal. Sometimes we may feel discouraged, especially if the wounds are deep. But it is in these moments that we need to trust in God and His healing power. If you are facing emotional pain, trust that God is working in you. He is cleansing your insides so that you are ready for the new blessings He has in store. Sometimes healing can come in unexpected ways. It may be through an encouraging word from a friend, a passage from the Bible that touches your heart, or a moment of sincere prayer. Be attentive to these opportunities and allow God to work in your life. Additionally, it is essential to remember that purification is not just about removing what is negative, but also about filling our hearts with what is good. God desires to fill us with love, peace, and joy. When we allow ourselves to be purified, we make room for the Holy Spirit to act in our lives. He guides us, comforts us, and strengthens us, helping us to live according to God's will. True faith is often revealed in moments of difficulty. When everything is going well, it is easy to trust in God and believe that He is in control. However, it is during periods of isolation and challenge that we are truly tested. God calls us to trust in Him, even when we cannot see the solution ahead of us. A powerful example of this trust is the story of Abraham. He was called by God to leave his homeland and go to an unknown place, not knowing exactly where he was going. Abraham had to fully trust God to guide him. This journey was not easy, and he faced many challenges along the way. However, his unwavering faith in God led him to become the father of many nations. Abraham's willingness to obey and trust in God, even amid uncertainty, is an example for all of us. Another example is the story of Job. He was a righteous and God-fearing man, but suddenly he lost everything: his family, his possessions, and his health. Even in the face of so much pain and suffering, Job never lost his faith. He questioned, lamented, and sought to understand what was happening. But his trust in God remained steadfast. The story of Job teaches us that even in the most difficult situations, we can find strength in our faith. God was with Job every step of the way, shaping him and preparing him for something greater. When we are isolated and facing difficulties, it is easy to feel alone and helpless. However, it is important to remember that God is always with us. He does not abandon us in our moments of pain. Instead, He uses these periods to shape us and strengthen our faith. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to grow in our trust in God. If you are going through a test of faith, know that God is with you. He is shaping you so that your trust in Him is unshakable. These moments of testing are not just about the pain we feel, but about the growth we can experience. God desires for us to learn to depend on Him in all circumstances, not just the easy ones. During these periods, it is essential to seek God in prayer. Talk to Him about your doubts and fears. Open your heart and allow Him in. Often, it is in this space of vulnerability that we find the strength we need. God hears our prayers and is always ready to comfort and guide us. Additionally, remember that tests of faith can be an opportunity to strengthen our relationship with God. When we face difficulties, we have the chance to draw closer to Him in a deeper way. It is a moment to reflect on our beliefs and what it truly means to trust in God. Sometimes, we need to be challenged so that we can grow and become stronger in our faith. God also uses these tests to prepare us for what is to come. Just like Abraham and Job, each of us has a purpose in our lives. The challenges we face may be part of God's plan to lead us to a place of greater influence and impact. He is shaping our character and preparing us for the blessings that are to come. If you feel overwhelmed by a test of faith, remember that you are not alone. Many people throughout history have faced similar challenges and found strength in their faith. You can draw inspiration from the stories of others who have gone through difficulties and emerged stronger than before. Faith is a journey, and each step we take brings us closer to God. Finally, it is important to maintain hope. Even when things seem bleak, God is working in your life. He is shaping you for something greater, and each test of faith is an opportunity to grow and draw closer to Him. Trust that, in the end, you will come out stronger and more prepared to face whatever comes your way. God isolates the chosen ones to test their faith, but these tests are an essential part of our spiritual growth. They help us to trust more fully in God and prepare us for what He has in store for us. If you are going through a difficult time, remember that God is with you, shaping your faith and preparing you for something incredible. Stay strong and confident, for the journey of faith is filled with promises and blessings. Isolation can be a powerful way for God to hide and protect you from enemies, both physical and spiritual. In a world full of challenges and adversities, it is comforting to know that God is always taking care of His chosen ones. He protects us from threats that we often cannot see, and isolation can be a part of this divine plan. A clear example of this protection is the story of Elisha, the prophet of God. At a critical moment, Elisha was surrounded by soldiers who wanted to capture him. However, God intervened in an extraordinary way. He not only protected Elisha, but also confused his enemies, making it so they could not find him. This story shows us that God has the power to hide His chosen ones and protect them from any evil. He always takes care of us, even when we do not realize it. If you feel invisible or ignored, it may be that God is keeping you safe for the right moment. Sometimes, isolation can feel lonely and discouraging, but it is important to remember that God is working in your life. He is protecting you while preparing something great for you. What seems to be a time of waiting may actually be a time of preparation. God is shaping you, strengthening your faith, and empowering you for the purpose He has in mind. When we are in a period of isolation, it is easy to feel discouraged and question what is happening. We may wonder why we are being distanced from people or situations that were once important to us. However, it is essential to trust that God has a greater plan. He may be protecting us from negative influences, from people who do not have good intentions, or from situations that could harm us. Additionally, isolation can be a time for reflection and self-discovery. When we are alone, we have the opportunity to connect more deeply with God. It is a moment to seek His guidance and better understand what He desires for our lives. Often it is during these periods of solitude that we find clarity about our purpose and direction. God also uses isolation to prepare us for what is to come. Just as Elisha was protected to fulfill his mission, God may be preparing you for something grand. He is shaping your character and strengthening your faith so that you can face the challenges that will come. Each moment of isolation is an opportunity to grow and develop, even if this is not immediately apparent. If you are going through a period of isolation, remember that this is not a punishment. It is divine preparation. God is protecting you, shaping you, and empowering you for the purpose He has for your life. It is a time of growth and transformation. Instead of seeing isolation as something negative, try to view it as an opportunity to draw closer to God and prepare for what He has in store for you. Declare with faith, "I am chosen by God." This affirmation is powerful and can bring comfort in moments of doubt. Trust that God is working in your life, even if you do not see it now. Isolation is just the beginning of something grand. Keep your faith strong, for the best is yet to come. Remember that God is always by your side, taking care of you and protecting you from any evil. He knows your struggles and your pains, and He is working to strengthen you. When you feel alone, know that God is with you, shaping your heart and preparing you for the future. In times of difficulty, it is essential to seek God in prayer. Talk to Him about your worries and fears. Open your heart and allow Him in. Often, it is in this space of vulnerability that we find the strength we need. God hears our prayers and is always ready to comfort and guide us. Finally, remember that isolation can be a time of great spiritual growth. It is an opportunity to deepen your faith and prepare for what God has in store for you. Trust that He is working in your life, even if you do not see it now. Isolation is a part of the divine plan, and God is always taking care of His chosen ones. Hello, I am George, and I want to personally invite you to experience something truly transformative. If you have not yet started the chosen 40 days of reflection and hope, now is the perfect time to dive into this journey. This devotional is not just about reading. It is about reigniting your connection with God, finding strength in your faith, and discovering clarity amid life's challenges. Every day you will find uplifting messages that inspire your heart, renew your soul, and illuminate the path ahead. These reflections are designed to meet you exactly where you are, offering guidance and encouragement when you need it most. Do not wait for the right moment. Start today. This is your opportunity to embrace spiritual growth and walk closer to the purpose that God has for your life. Take the first step and let this devotional guide you into a season of hope and renewal. Are you ready? Let's embark on this journey together. Star.